Hi, I'm Debbie Brubacher, and as you can hear from my accent, I am not Swiss, I'm Scottish, and live here in Bern, and I've been in Switzerland for the last 15 years. So I have a teenage daughter, and I have a love for being outdoors and in the mountains, as you can see. They're everywhere for me. For the last 25 years, I worked in corporate finance, and like so many, I began to look for more meaning in my life. I got to that point where I really reflected on my career and realized that I loved supporting people become their best selves. And this is what made me pivot my career to become a coach. So I've been a coach for over 5 years, and when I started, I was lucky enough to be able to coach internally alongside my normal job. However, I quickly realized that coaching and leadership development was my calling. And this is when I left my corporate role and set up my own company. And while some days, as many of you can imagine, it can be kind of challenging, I know this is the right path for me, and the journey that I'm on is for sure the right one. So I'm a long distance runner, and a few years ago I got injured, and so I decided to volunteer for the race, and it was one of the best experiences I had. So it got me thinking about what other communities I could volunteer on, and this is when I saw the call for board volunteers for ICF Switzerland. What I really wanted to do was to bring more virtual events and connection to the ICF community, and with a little help of COVID this year, this has certainly happened, and something I know we're going to continue to do in the future. So with my finance background, I am the treasurer for ICF Switzerland. Another of my gifts is really taking chaos and creating organization. And so I've been working on the back office processes and controls. Additionally, I've been helping Nina, who's our vice president, with marketing and building out a number of communities with the help of some additional volunteers, so we can improve our engagement with our members and you listening through social media, our newsletters, and redesigning our website. And so if you're interested in being a volunteer, just see the link at the end of the newsletter. So what would you lose that is important if you did change? So this one's not so much of a coaching tool. I do love to use the body in coaching. Some people might call it somatics, or just noticing what the body is and isn't saying. So really have the client go into their body and notice where they might feel a small movement, or where do they feel the butterflies, where do they feel the pins and needles, is it hot, is it cold, and notice perhaps the little laughter or the little movement they make. They're playing with the hair when they're talking about something scary. So bringing that body into the coaching, I love to do that. So I would say extend your range. I love to think of our range as piano keys, and very often we play in this kind of range when we need to be playing in this range. Often there's a question we're too scared to ask. I'm sure you've all been there. And what it takes is courage and boldness, fierce courage to ask those questions. That might be the question that moves our client forward. And so when we can step into our full range as a coach, it also allows our client to do the same. And I think this is fantastic. And so one way I found to practice that was practicing with other coaches in a safe environment. ICF has a great reciprocal coaching program that you might look into. That way you can practice with coaches of your own level. So one of my favorite quotes, which came to me at the beginning of my coaching journey and has kind of stayed with me, has been the one through Marianne Williamson. So adapted it a little bit and I'll read it now. So our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine like children. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give it to other people. And as we liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I just love that. So nature is my go-to de-stressor even. Hiking or running, being in the mountains, just being in a forest. I often go and just sit there, especially if I've been kind of really stressed or I just feel off center. I've been doing a lot more yoga, meditation and centering recently. I really find the centering helps me in those exact moments when I'm feeling stressed, so I can take that deep breath and just let things go. I feel that really helps, especially when I'm about to coach clients as well. I like to do a quick centering before I coach. So I'd like to say my magic is authentic vulnerability. I really like to take people back to the basics of who they are before they've added all those layers to protect themselves. I like to support them break down those layers and really get to the essence of who they are, so they can, start to really live their life and create more meaningful connections. I love doing this in companies when you get teams to show the essence and break down those barriers. It can really create more engagement, fulfillment and happiness, and in turn improve productivity and performance. So, authentic vulnerability.